we go. That's pretty good. Yeah.
It works. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so here I'll just. Oh, it's on. Okay. Hey everybody. Sorry, we're doing too many things at one time. So, Nikki Burnett here. This is Taste Life Radio, and we are on KUHS Denver, streaming live. And you know, I think every week I just get or every other week I get super excited about the guests that I have on. And today, Charlie's on with me. Charlie is the host of The Council. The Council is a show here on KUHS on Fridays at
1 to 2 p.m.
1 to 2 p.m. Tomorrow?
Yep,
Okay.
tomorrow. Yes.
Cool. All right, so be sure to tune into that. This is going to be a super fun conversation. I'm really excited about this because we're going to go really deep. I don't even know how deep we're going to go, but it's going to be really cool. So before we get started, so Nikki Burnett, my company, Taste Life Nutrition. This show is about food, it's about health, it's about fun, it's about truth, and it's about all of the things, dogs, can't forget about dogs, but all of the goodness and all the things that we can get out to you to the best of our ability that is fact that we have today. So we know, I say this all the time, we know that science changes. It changes all the time. It's the beautiful thing about science, and we have to keep up with it. But there's so much confusion out there in this world of the internet and information and all of this craziness that we're kind of in the middle of, that we want to do our very best to bring to you what we truly believe is the truth as we know it today. So with that said, we always start the show with gratitude. And I have to say, you know, I was running a little bit late today, and, you know, I always do my journaling in the morning and talk about, you know, journal what I'm grateful for. You know, and I think that today I'm just grateful for warm weather and tank tops. I love tank tops and flip-flops and just, you know, wearing, you know, just flip-flops. I love flip-flop weather and gardening. So that's what I'm grateful for today. So, Charlie, what are you grateful for today?
Oh, I love what you're grateful for. I think that's great. You know, I'm grateful I woke up today, and I was able to breathe, and I was like laying, and I was like, oh my gosh, and the sun and the birds sounded so good, and I was grateful for the being alive. You know, some of those things that we make it so complicated sometimes.
Oh man, we
do. Too complicated that it's got to be something big, and it's just those simple things, and being able to be on this show today. I'm grateful that you invited me. I mean, I think it's what you're doing, and the message that you're sending out is so important. And I love that it's about people's health and people's well-being, and being a bastion, an oasis of truth and sanity in a very crazy time period right now.
No kidding.
And I'm grateful for just being here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Good stuff. Okay, so let's get started. I want to kind of go basic. I mean, I do this with everybody when I bring people in. Is just talk about who you are, what you do, what brought you to where you are now, and all of those fun things. Let's get a feel for who you are.
Well, I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, I'm an author, and I'm also the host of The Council.
I still haven't gotten your book.
Well, you can buy it on Amazon. There's my pitch. You can buy it on Amazon, or storebookbaby.com. It's called Meditations with Masters of the Axial Age. And it's a book about studying with some of the great spiritual teachers and philosophers that lived around 2,500 years ago.
Awesome.
And so it's just an exploration to help you. I consider it a self-help book for the soul. I grew up here in Denver. I was born and raised in Colorado. Arvada is where my hometown is, and so I grew up in this area. I grew up with the mountains. I grew up fishing in these mountains, and you know.
Are you a fly fisherman?
No.
Okay.
I like fishermen. I love,
okay.
But I tried fly fishing a couple times with some buddies of mine, and I just loved being at the lake.
Yeah.
You know, it was just being watching the sun rising up over the lakes and the mountains, and seeing that, and just watching the fish jump, and just there was something would happen.
Cool.
And I just love that. So pretty simple when it comes. But anyway, grew up here, played football, went to college, went to the Air Force Academy, graduated from there and got commissioned, and then went and worked on a secret program. It was called the Nuclear Warfare Program.
Secret Nuclear Warfare Program. Wow.
Yeah,
that's intense.
It was pretty intense. It was the NDS program, GPS NDS. Great people. I didn't like the work that I was doing because a lot of it was focused on. There was a peacetime mission. This is all public record. Peacetime mission was out to make sure that nobody was blowing up any nuclear weapons around the world. I was all for that because I thought, And then I ended up, but I got assigned to the offensive mission, the mission that was to determine these mobile survivable ground and control units that would be used to conduct end-to-end nuclear war. Where they hit us, where we hit them, do we have a command and control center, that kind of stuff. And quite frankly, that wasn't exactly what I signed up for. I wanted to preserve and protect and honor life, even give my life up for our freedoms, but not destroy life.
Sure, yeah, that's tough.
And it was, so I got what was called moral injury, where basically your mind tells you to do something that your heart knows is wrong. And that's really it. It's a violation of that core essence, that core self. I mean, I literally remember being in one of these units and watching my team, and we had to get it authorized by the J6, NORAD, Spacecom, Stratcom, and sitting there in my unit and watching the people and imagining what this thing was going to be used for. And it was like somebody had, and I just realized it, and it was like somebody had literally taken a spear right to my heart. And I was like, oh my God, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's and then after that I started waking up with horrible nightmares and night sweats. I would be frozen in my bed, locked. I couldn't break free from it. And that was my initiation into the journey of who I am today. Working with PTSD and trauma-related issues. It was a long journey.
The best ones are, right? The best / worst, right?
The best / worst ones.
It's worse then, but where you are now is amazing, is kind of what I mean, right? It's those really hard lessons that go, I am that much better because of it.
Well, it took time, and when you're in the middle of it, you're not thinking about it. You're just trying to swim through the pain and the guilt, and you're trying to assuage yourself. And, I imbibed in a lot of alcohol and drugs to kind of medicate myself from the pain that, there was a lot of trauma, a lot of family trauma. There was personal trauma and stuff from the military, all this stuff that we're going to talk about, the epigenetics that I was born and raised into, and then just the relational things that I would end up getting myself involved in. All of these things. And it was just me trying to find my way out, And are you familiar with the hero's journey?
I am.
Joseph Campbell's hero's journey?
Yeah.
So if you can see, we all have our own hero's journey, heroine's journey, whatever. And you hear that call to adventure, and then you go through a transformation. And transformation is never easy for anybody. We think it is. If it was easy, everybody do it, right? And so you're no longer going to be the same person you started out to be. Right? And so when you go through it, you're going to meet with the challenges. You're going to meet with those obstacles. You're going to meet with those people that come into your life that are going to test you. Right. And then you hit rock bottom, or the crisis point, or the huge ordeal. And that ordeal is a defining moment, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, metaphysically, and physically. It's a moment where you're like, if I don't make a different choice here, I'm not going to make it. Right. And so then you make the choice, which is what I had to do. You make that choice, and it was a long climb. The return journey is always the hardest. Because there's parts of yourself that you have to reclaim, that you have to confront, that you have to face. And a lot of times we don't want to do that. Yeah, it's hard. But that's how I got into doing this, and then I moved back to Colorado about 3 years ago. It's hard to believe. And started doing the show and bringing people on and trying to inspire hope and transformation in people and give examples of people who are contributing to life and the world in a healthy and meaningful way, and being an advocate of truth and people. You know, it's just celebrating the human resiliency, the spirit of you and others that are out there that are really doing something in the world to make a difference.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. Good stuff. Okay, so I want to jump into a quick ad. It's not an ad. Wow, it's amazing when your words just go away.
Yeah.
Who we're being supported by. So one of the companies that this show is supported by is a company called Rightful. And so Rightful is an interesting supplement. If you watch the show, you've heard me talk about it quite a bit because I love it. I'm taking it. But it is in a coconut milk base, and it's a turmeric supplement. And so it initially was brought to us for pain management. And so it's being used now in pain management clinics, which is amazing to me because we have allopathic medicine using naturopathic supplements, right? And I just think it's a beautiful thing. The cool thing about it, it's all plant-based. It's got an AM and a PM formula, so it kind of helps you get up and focus during the day, and in the evening it helps you a little bit. It helps with a little bit of sleep. It's got a little CBD in it. It's a really great product, and what they're showing now is they're starting to do more research on this product and the ability to help you focus and to sleep and kind of bringing calm during your day, calming some anxiety and things like that. So it's a really interesting supplement. What you can do if you're interested in it, and I would tell you to give it a try. You got to give it at least a month. I would say a couple of months. I did notice a difference in a month. Give it a couple of months, especially if you're using it for pain management. You want to give it a little bit of time. But it's Rightful. You can go to rightful.com, put in the code TLN20 as in Taste Life Nutrition 20, and you'll get a discount. Give it a try. It's good stuff. So I appreciate Rightful for supporting the show. Now let's get into some fun stuff. When we were talking about this show, we don't really have an outline for the show. I have thoughts and ideas, but we're going to just kind of see where it goes because it really can go as wide and as deep as we want it to. I also want to preface this with I'm fairly new to the world of energy, which is weird because energy is as old as time, right? God is energy. We are energy. That's how we are. But I want to start it with, I think this is how I want to start it anyway, with my own story and understanding where I come from, because I think a lot of people come from this place, and then we'll kind of dig into what it all means. So, I grew up a Christian. I'm still a Christian. I do my Bible study. When I talk about my morning, routine, it's about an hour, and I'm doing some meditation and some affirmations, and in my Bible study right now I'm studying James 1 and 2 thanks to my mom. She sent it to me.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Those are great. James 1 and 2 is great. Yeah.
It is. It's good timing, which is why she sent it to me. It's like, this is a time where we need to have that faith, and it was great. It is great. I'm still in it. And I tried, this is my regular, my gratitude. All of these things is what I do on a regular basis. Now, growing up though, I didn't know anything about energy, and you didn't really put it all together. And as I got older, and I would hear people talking about, energy, and us all, we're connected by energy, and all the energy out there, and rocks have energy, and all of this energy, I was like, I don't know about all of this. This is way woo-woo for me, and I just don't. I love science. I love data, and I'm just really not woo-woo. I have lots of woo-woo friends. So I don't mean to draw this out, but what happened is we met up with someone who grew up as a Christian. She's also a therapist, and she calls herself Woo. And she,
that's great.
It is, yeah. And so she helped me, as well as then me searching and reaching out to other people who I know are good Christians, whatever that word means to anybody, right? But that have the faith, but also understand, at least now that I understand that they know, about what it means to that we're all connected and what this energy means, right? And so it has brought me to the place of, you know, now being positive and what positive puts out there, and this is the stuff that we'll get into, and then what it looks like to create our own health, right? Because that's also what we want to get back to, is we have so much negativity right now and craziness and all of this stuff going on that we can't let that energy in, because we need to put out the good stuff, right? And if we let it in, it's going to impact our health, our immune system, our mental and our emotional health. It'll affect every part of us. So I'm getting a little long-winded, but I wanted to kind of paint that picture of where I am, and I'm still a newbie. And so, which is why I'm excited about this, because I'm going to learn a lot from Charlie, but it's going to be a really great conversation. And anyway, so I appreciate that, and I think maybe we start with, I don't know, with that said, how do you start with people? What do you feel about keeping sanity during quarantine? And then we'll just kind of maybe go from there. Does that help?
Yeah,
is that
okay? Absolutely. There's so much that you've
so much
articulated there, and I want to be able to touch on a few things that I think are really important. Prior to World War II, there was no real sense of that energy came before matter. We didn't really know that. I mean, it was living your life. You work the ground, you work the land. You know, our grandparents, they wouldn't have been, you know, they didn't think about these things.
Yeah.
It was the introduction to the nuclear age, because coincidentally, that led us into this understanding of, oh my gosh, energy actually comes before matter. It is when they blew up those weapons that we were inaugurated into this new understanding about how the universe and ourselves are organized. That, yes, thought comes before matter. All right? That we have to think of an idea. That idea might be to write a great book. That idea might be to make a new table, or to have a radio show, right? That idea starts there, and then it has to move through our system in order to be able to come to reality into the physical form. And so learning and understanding that process has been kind of the shift that we're all going through. And then you add into that quantum physics. And I love quantum physics.
So cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
You know, when I went to the academy, we studied aerodynamics, and we studied thermodynamics, and you had to understand, you know, how can we maneuver the laws of the universe, because everything is governed by laws. You know, gravity. If you and I both stand at the edge of a cliff, it doesn't matter. If we both jump off, we're both going to fall. You know, we have to work and understand the laws. And quantum physics has laws as well. They're different. They don't quite fall into the Newtonian idea of the world. And so when you get into the quantum field, and they were looking, all right, what's really at the smallest level of existence, and they look and they go right into our cells, and they go right into the atoms, and then they'd see the nucleus, but the electrons would be way out here.
There's so much space.
There's so much space.
Yeah.
Like if you actually did it proportionally, you and I here being like the nucleus, the electron would be out in Utah somewhere.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. It's like mind-boggling. And we're still trying to understand it, how it all works.
Yeah.
But we're figuring it out. We get it, it's technologically. The stuff that we're doing instantaneously on our cell phones now, that's all attributed to the understandings of the laws of quantum physics, that energy comes before matter. You can sense in your own body your own system changing. And I'll give you an example. You've felt somebody's vibe before, right? You know, you can walk into a room and they feel negative, right? You can like, that guy's got some negative vibes.
Yeah.
Or that girl, she's got some negative vibes. What do you think that is? You're sensing that person's energy field. You're able to sense what's going on almost instantaneously. Your intuitive knowing. Where does that come from? How do you know? Because we're starting to understand that we're more than just the physical matter that we appear. When you go into your body, you're 99.99% space.
It's amazing.
And so how do we learn to work with this? You know, how do we learn to be able to incorporate that into our understanding of spirituality, in faith. And when they look at that, they see in the quantum field that everything is connected, interconnected, that we're all this field, we're moving in this field of energy that's all around us, that has composed everything. And so now we're starting to be able to say, well, how do I manage my own system? How do I take care and stay healthy energetically so that I'm not picking up a lot of negativity? You know, we're even using it in our language. The negativity, what do you mean by that? It means you're sensing something that this person is giving off that is affecting you. Have you ever been in a situation where you were like, you sat around with some people and then all of a sudden you came away from it and you felt drained? Have you ever?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we all know it, but we're not making
it's hard to grasp. Yeah.
It's hard to grasp. It's hard to be able to connect to that. But it is. It's one of the most fascinating, one of the most liberating things too, because now we become connected to everybody that's around us. So what I say and what I do impacts not only myself, but it impacts the people around me. Yeah. Because now we don't get an excuse. We don't have this illusion of separation anymore, because the more we understand, the more we dig deep, the more we realize that everything is connected on the deep energetic, cellular, molecular level. Yeah. So, fascinating stuff.
It's so fascinating. I think it's amazing. And so, with that said, oh gosh, there's so many places. So I want to kind of touch on the quarantine real quick. I know that, thank God, we're starting to come out of it. Most of us, anyway. When you talk to people, what are you telling them to help them to stay in a good place during quarantine and get through it? Because I'm probably more introvert than I am extrovert. And maybe, kind of half and half. But there are those extroverts that are really struggling and having a tough time with this. And I would say probably, and many others as well. But what do you say to those people to help them?
Well, number one is check your thoughts. Right? Don't allow your thoughts to overwhelm you. Very often what people don't recognize is that your thoughts are so powerful, they can impact and change the quality of your life. Most people are thinking about 70,000 thoughts a day. About 70,000. 80% of those thoughts are the same ones you were thinking yesterday. All right, and so if you're thinking negative thoughts and you're thinking about how bad this pandemic is, or this quarantine, and how this is miserable, and how this, guess what you're doing? You're programming yourself, you're programming your body to actually feel these things. And the science shows that we are actually, the more we think a negative thought, the more we think some thought like, I'm so angry about what's going on that well, guess what? That is sending signals in your brain to your hypothalamus to create peptides and neurotransmitters to make you feel that feeling all the way down at the cellular level. Yeah. That's how powerful it is. So
it's amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you will actually feel that. So if I'm angry and I'm thinking angry thoughts, and I'm always like, well, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to feel all knotted up right here. I'm going to get the furrow in my brow. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to see everything in my world as being reflective of the anger that I'm feeling, so it feeds me even more. And so I'm constantly feeding that. And guess what? There's receptors on the ends of your cells. And those receptors are plugged into those neuropeptides. They're plugged into those neurotransmitters. And they're for all those chemicals that get sent through the entire body that go onto the edge of those, on the outside of the cell, that feed for that particular emotion. Whether it's anger, whether it's grief, whether it's shame, whether it's resentment, whether it's joy, whether it's gratitude, whether it's care, whether it's all of those things are connected chemically. Yeah. All right? So what you're feeding yourself in your mind is so critical. And because if you're feeding yourself all these angry and resentful thoughts, now when the cells, because billions of your cells are dying right now, and at the same time billions are being reborn, they're being remade. And every 7 years we have a new body. Like literally, it's crazy.
It is crazy, yeah.
And so what you feed yourself through your thoughts will actually impact the influence on the cells and how they divide. They're going to have more receptor sites for joy, appreciation, care, love, those kinds of things. Or you're going to have more receptor sites for anger, resentment, greed, whatever it may be that you may be, I have to hold on to these things. And it's going to affect you. You can see pictures of people who've been angry a whole lot.
Yeah.
And if you look at them 10 years before, you're like, oh my gosh, how did they change so much? Well, their mind is so powerful. Your mind is more powerful than anything, and you get to choose how this pandemic affects you. That is your power.
Absolutely.
It's your power, and you've got, just as important it is to take care of your health and eat nutritious food and building up your immune system and all those things. You've got to also take care of your mind. You've got to be able to take, that is the power that you have to choose how you get to respond to this situation. And that's your freedom, and that's your growth, and that's how you empower yourself.
Yeah. And that leads me into, which, it's essentially, mindfulness. And, one of the things, I know that you're a huge fan of Joe Dispenza. It's funny, every time I say Joe Dispenza, I want to say Dinesh D'Souza. I mean, they both, two totally different people, but that's just where, it's really funny. But Joe Dispenza, if you don't know him, you should. He's amazing. I know you've done courses through him. At this point, I've only read one of his books. But there is, and I'll get into this in a minute, but there are a couple of things where I am now that stand out to me that have changed my world. And anyway, but my point to that is mindfulness and being mindful and being aware every day that if you start your day the same way every day, it's creating this pattern, especially if it's not in a good way, right? If you get up, you get coffee, you listen to the news, especially the news now, and you get angry, and then you go through your day the same way, the same habit, the same thing. You're repeating this over and over and over again, and nothing will ever change for you. Nothing will get you out of, if you're in a funk, you might not be, right? But if you're in a funk and you're not happy with where you are, you're not, you want more, but you're not getting it. You got to get out of, you've got to break the habit of being yourself, which is the book that I read from Joe Dispenza. And so, is there anything that you want to add to that? Because I find that that's exactly what I did. I would get up, I would make coffee, I would do my thing, I'd go straight to my computer. Work, right? And the computer, it's awful, but it's what I do. Now, I get up, I will make my morning drink, but then I'll go straight to my little room, my little meditation room, and do my thing. And it's amazing. I mean, I'm in there for about an hour, which is really probably longer than I want to be. But, but if I want to get through all my stuff, I got to be in there for an hour. So I just got to get up earlier. And that's the stuff that we have to work on. And that's getting me outside of myself. I still have a lot of flipping work to do. This is I've only been practicing this stuff for a couple of years, and there's a lot that I don't know. Anyway, I asked you if you wanted to say something, and then I kept going.
I think what you're saying is, is so important for people to understand that your thoughts are so powerful, and if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again in those routines, you're just living in the past. You're just thinking the same thoughts, and you're having the same feelings, you're doing the same behaviors, you're having the same responses, the same reactions, and so everything has been preconditioned. And all of that is on automatic negative responses or automatic behavioral responses that have been already programmed into you that are now operating the system. Everything is, so much of it is being operated in our subconscious mind. And that mind is what is controlling our behaviors, our habits. Now, habits can be good and habits can be bad. But if we're constantly in this mode of life is never good, I'm never going to be good enough, I'm never going to be healthy enough, it is so powerful. The self-sabotaging thought, my gosh, I don't want to do this. It's like, I'll put it off tomorrow. For me, procrastination. I'm so terrible with procrastination on that. But it is. Those are the kinds of things. And the past is driving us. You know, and then all of a sudden you're getting drawn into your Facebook, you're getting drawn into your phone, you're getting drawn into the news, you're getting pulled into your daily routine, you're remembering your ex and what they did, you're remembering what your parents didn't do, and then you're thinking about, oh, I got to take care of the kids, or I got to take care of the dogs, and now I got to do this, and all of a sudden you're all being pulled right into the world that you already know.
Yeah.
There's no room for the unknown in your life to come in, for the new to come in, for the uncertainty. And we tend to be driven by certainty. We want to be certain.
Even if it's bad.
Yeah. Even if it's bad, because
Yeah.
why? Because it's familiar.
Yeah, because we know it.
Because we know it. We know it already. I know this. Even though I'm miserable, I know this. I know how to be miserable in this. I'm comfortable in this.
Yeah.
And pushing ourselves outside of that unknown, outside of that comfort zone, is be very difficult. And it can get harder as we get older. You know, after about age 35, I think we become a little bit more, our personalities can be very cemented in that that time. So to start unraveling it and add something, it takes a little bit of effort. But we can still do it.
Sure, I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
and I'm 48 now. And I think I probably started this at 45 or 46. And every day, it's a little bit of work, and it's creating habit change, and it's just trying to do the different.
Yeah. Well, it's adding something new.
Right.
Even if it's just one thing a day, you're changing your routine. You're changing your thoughts. You're saying, you know what? I'm not going to keep saying I'm not enough. I am enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep. I'm going to do something. I know I'm a procrastinator, so today I'm going to do one thing that is going to help me. And even if that's just me picking up the phone and making a phone call.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you're rewriting your script. You're adding something new. And your brain starts to fire new neurons. This is what's so fascinating about Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, is that your brain will start to fire new neurons. And they'll see it. They can actually see it under the microscope, where that neuronal connection will link up. And the only way it stays linked is if you keep repeating that new way of being. Maybe it's a new diet. Maybe it's,
We don't use diet.
We don't use
I'm just
diet.
kidding.
I
don't like the word
told
diet.
that we don't do diet.
I'm playing. Go ahead.
Maybe it's a new way of eating.
Great.
Maybe it's a new way of eating. Maybe it's a new way of, dressing. Maybe it's a new way of writing. Maybe it's trying something that you never thought you would be able, painting. Maybe you want to learn how to paint, or gardening.
Radio show.
Doing a radio show.
I never thought I would do a radio show.
You're doing great.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's awesome. But you're opening yourself up to different parts of yourself. And by doing that, you get new neuronal networks that form in your brain. And it's by repetition that we form those new links. And so how am I going to think today? Am I going to think past thoughts? Or am I going to be thinking about what can I do today? And it's really a forward-looking way of being. And now the science is supporting what a lot of those teachers that I talk about in my show and have been trying to get us to understand, that you got to live in the present moment.
Yeah.
You got to get fully present. Otherwise, the past is going to push you around and control you. And now we have the science to back up with what they were saying.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, real quick, we are on KUHS Denver, streaming live. This is an amazing station. I think that we are, at least last I heard, 5th in the country, or 3rd, something like that. I don't know. Reaching over 100,000 people. So good stuff.
Yay.
Yeah, it's an awesome station. So
all around it, thank
anyway,
you.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Henry, for all your hard work. He's back in the back. Okay, so I want to hit a little bit on Joe Dispenza. And I tell you, so the first thing, there are two things that just blew my mind as in nutrition, right? One was when I was in school, and it was understanding food as a language. And I've said this on the show before, I say it all the time now because it blew my mind. It makes you totally see food in a different way. So we see food as, fun, and sometimes we love it and sometimes we hate it, and we have great relationship with it or a terrible relationship with it, or we don't care about it at all, right? But food is, it's what gives us life, for the most part. But when we look at it as a language for our body, and it tells our body what it's supposed to do. So if we're eating good, healthy food, we're sending a good, clean, clear line of communication to our cells, to our DNA, and our body runs like a top, right? If we're eating processed foods, fake foods, chemical-ridden foods, then we're sending an a really unclear line of communication to our cells and to our DNA. And over time, our body it starts to sputter, doesn't know what to do, and then you start to get pain and inflammation and fatigue and brain fog, and we think, oh, well, it's bad luck or bad genetics or it's age or whatever it is. When it's what we're putting into our body, what we're putting into our head, what we're putting on our skin, all of these things. And so this goes back, it's all related, it's so cool. I'm such a nerd. The next thing that blew my mind, again, related to all of this, is when I read Joe Dispenza's book, and it was, again, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And in there, he starts talking about epigenetics. If you don't know what epigenetics is, we have, just really quick science lesson, we have our genome, right? Our genetics, it's our skin color and our hair color and, these things. Epi, though, means on top of, essentially. So it's locations on top of our genes that have the ability to turn on and off. Mm-hmm. All of them turn on and off. Now, they can turn off minute by minute, second by second, over a month, over years, whatever it is. But they all do it based on our lifestyle, stress, negative self-talk, positive self-talk, food, movement, family dynamics, environmental factors, environmental toxicants. Everything that we do turns our genes on and off. Now, that led me to my little tagline, which is, we do have control over our genetic destiny. Then I read Joe's book, and he gets into this, and what he says is epigenetics is proof that we have I wrote it down. We have free will. Mm-hmm. And I just went, what? I don't know why free will wouldn't come to me. But as a Christian and growing up and believing that we do have free will, that, and that we make our decisions and we have the ability to make the right decisions or the wrong decisions, it's our choice. And it's like there was this really beautiful circle, and I just was like, this is the coolest thing, because we have free will. We can control our destiny for the most part. Mm-hmm. We all have an end. Life will end, at least this life here, right? But we can live maybe not a longer life, because we don't know how we're going to end, but a full life. We have the ability to eat the right food, to say the right things to ourselves and to others, and be one with our communities and put out the good energy, mm-hmm. and move, and all of these things, at least is a lot of it, right? Some things are out of our control. Mm-hmm. That's life. But we have so much control over so much of what we do and how our body responds. Mm-hmm. And I think it's amazing. And those are the two things that just blew my mind out of all of the things and all of the time I've been studying nutrition.
Well, the genetic, that you have control of your genetic destiny, that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's a game changer. Mm-hmm. When you really understand the implications of what that means. Yeah, there's the DNA code. When they look at it, there is some code that is not, that's what you get from your ancestors. That's what you get, that you inherited. And some of that is locked in there. And a lot of it, we get a lot of good stuff that we get from our ancestors as well. But on the ends of the chromosomes are these things called telomeres. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the telomeres, they can grow and lengthen and shorten, all depending upon what you're doing and your environmental factors and what you're feeding yourself.
I can test telomeres. It's really cool. I can
test telomeres?
I can.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, if you elongate the telomeres in your chromosomes, it lengthens your life. Mm-hmm.
It does.
It lengthens your life. And that's how powerful the genetic imprint can be changed and altered. Mm-hmm. That they actually can show how much more time you gained by the length of, by the quality of your thoughts and what you're putting into your body.
I believe this is right, that because of discovering, I guess, telomeres, we have, our lifespan should be about 120 years. And we can, when we look at telomeres, we can see, okay, this is what we've done over our life. This is about what we have, which is kind of freaky in and of itself, right? But it's a powerful tool. You know, when I talk to people and I tell them, I can look for an Alzheimer's gene in you, and do you want to know? Like, I don't know. It's like, if you know that it's only epigenetics, it's not set in stone, right? The Alzheimer's gene is an epigenetic mutation, for lack of a better word. And if you know that you have it, because I do, if you know that you have it, then you know how to control it. You know the things to do to not allow it to happen. I mean, having that power, and again, it's accountability. It's on us.
Huge.
It's on us. It's not on
Huge
anybody else. So we
No.
have to want it, and we have to want to do it.
Yes.
But I mean, it's such amazing, powerful information to know, and then go, okay, I can take care of that. Even if you have to go to somebody to help you, right?
Yeah,
That's
right.
why I do what I do, and that's why I have other people help me do things that I don't know how to do. But that's what we're here for. Anyway, it's just phenomenal.
Oh, well, yeah, well, you can think about that. But then it no longer gives you an excuse to not take control of your life. And you can, and that, or at least you have the power. And you can't influence somebody's free will.
Right.
They're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But now that we recognize this and understand how much of our attitude, how much of our power that we really do have, that we are, another great book is Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's about the biology of belief.
Yep, I've got his book.
Fantastic. And how much it's our beliefs that influence our biology.
Yeah.
What we believe, beliefs are so powerful, and they can wreak havoc. They can set you against somebody just because they happen to believe something different, maybe a different God, maybe a different religion, maybe a different politics, right? And how it sets everybody off against each other. And that's why, in times like these, I think it's so critical that we try to find the things that unite us and not divide us. What is the ultimate goal behind what these people are saying? Are they speaking the truth, or are they spreading lies? We were talking about the impact. If people understood the impact of telling a lie, they would stop. You would stop telling lies, because that is all right, we're going to get deep here. Okay? We're going to go deep. A lie is a conscious action to initiate evil. That's what a lie is. It's a conscious action to initiate evil. You know it. You know this is not the truth. You're doing it anyway, and it will harm somebody else. And you do it anyway for whatever, self-interest, greed, lust, deception, manipulation, control. I'm going to make your spirit dance for me. That's what manipulation is. I'm going to make your spirit.
You just gave me chills. Not in a good way.
No, but it's understanding. That's how powerful. You've got to be able to learn to speak the truth. And start with your truth. Start with that. Start and aligning yourself with those kinds of things. And if it doesn't resonate with you yet, don't do it. But listen to people who are speaking and coming from that place. We don't have all the answers. But we want to be with people who are seeking the truth. Who are trying to seek the truth and be in alignment with love, those kinds of things. Right. And lying has an impact on your health as well.
Yeah.
Liars do not heal. They do not heal.
Yeah.
Liars do not heal.
Yeah.
They don't. So you can have
That's intense.
You can have the best eating habits. You can have the best kind of physicality. You can do all those things. But if you're lying to yourself and you're lying to others, you'll never heal. There'll always be something that comes up. You just won't. Somebody who is honest and is smoking cigars is going to do better. You got to be honest with people. You got to be honest with yourself, and being a truth teller, speaking the truth to the best of your ability. And the science helps you. What beats better science, or what beats science? Better science. Right?
Yeah, right. So every day, hopefully, but science is getting better.
Science is getting better, and I can speak to this from the truth of having been, you know, I've lied before, I've betrayed people before, and I know the impact that it had. Because you think you can get away with it, but lies have to be defended, and truth never does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Because it's the truth.
Yeah, you have, once there's a lie, it's just like this nasty little downward spiral.
It's a downward spiral.
And you're just constantly lying.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Even
It's
if
just a terrible feeling. It makes me naughty just thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, like, ugh.
Well, and if it starts out as a lie, everything that follows is a lie.
Right. Yeah.
And I think what's going on here, that's why understanding your energetic system, your energy, your capacity to sense and know the truth about things in you is so vital and important in a time where there is so much misinformation, so much distraction, so much propaganda, so much conspiracy theories and all these. You got to know yourself.
Right.
And eating healthy, keeping your mind clear, keeping your heart clear, and aligning yourself to the people who have spoken the truth. But you got to do it in you. You've got to do it with you first.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Cool. Okay, so this is going to be another.
For you?
No, let's go deeper. I need to take a quick break and let's talk about Zymogen. There we are. Thanks, Henry. He rocks.
He does. Henry rocks.
So, Zymogen Whole Scripts, same thing. Zymogen is a great company. I appreciate them. I love that they support this show because they are data-driven. They look after their clients, which is the practitioner. They look after the practitioner's clients and patients. They will not put out a bad product. And so it's interesting because I decided to put these two products up there because I've said multiple times on this show that I have a hard time with focus sometimes, maybe a lot of times. You know, I sit and I work at the computer and, you know, it's hard for me to kind of finish tasks. And so, and actually was just told yesterday, I'm working on my brain health, which is kind of cool and fun. I have some chiropractic friends that are helping me just optimize, right? I want to optimize. I want to optimize my brain and be healthy. I have the Alzheimer's gene and I'm 48, so it's time to optimize, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I accidentally came across these two products. I used them separately, but then I used them together, and mostly it was doing it for working out. But it has made such a difference in my focus throughout the day and getting things done over the last month, and then adding in Rightful on that too. I'm like, this is my magic trio of focus supplements. And it's been really, really fun for me personally because it makes the day feel massively productive, and I love that feeling. So I decided to put those up there. They're two great products together or separately. You can use them when you're working out or when you're not working out. I'm doing it both, and I think it's amazing stuff. So thank you to Zymogen. You can go to my website. There's a Whole Scripts button on my website. Go to that. You can put in Radio 5, and you'll get a discount on your Zymogen products. You can grab those too because they're good stuff. Okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah. It's
really
been
great.
it's really fun when you notice a difference like that.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's my drink in the morning. Because it used to be, I would get up in the morning and I would not even make coffee. I've kind of stopped my coffee now for the most part. But I would get up and I would go just straight to my room before I made anything, and then I would start my meditation, Bible study, and that kind of thing. But now I want this as soon as I can because I want it to start working immediately. Or like, you know, by the time I'm done with that, it's been an hour and I can go straight to my day and start doing stuff. So I have done that. I've changed that a little bit, but there's a reason behind it.
That's great. No, that's great. I don't think, when we get older, because I'm going to be 47. Can't believe it.
It's amazing. Isn't it? You're like, what? Those numbers are much
How?
bigger than I thought they would be.
Yeah, they're a lot bigger, you know. Jeez. And but if we're doing the things that we're talking about, we can lengthen our life.
Yeah.
Absolutely, no question. And then when you know that you have like a genetic marker, like we were talking about, well, how empowering is that?
It is.
It's really not something to be looked at negatively.
No,
it's
not at all.
empowering. It's like, well, I can do something now. I know. Now I'm not going to be surprised by it. Well, I can do those preventative measures. You know, that can help me to stay healthy for as long as I can while I'm on this planet and enjoying the best that life has to offer.
I think that's that mindset flip. You know, we need to learn, and this is, you know, I'm always working on this myself, but learning to flip the mindset from fear, because there are a lot of things that we can be afraid of. We can be afraid of our, you know, diagnoses or a, you know, a genetic marker or whatever it might be. But you can also, if you understand it, you take it from being fearful of it to having power over it. It's amazing.
It's truly amazing.
Yeah.
And it is, you know, if you're allowing yourself to be controlled by the thought forms of fear, and they will put you under spells. Okay, and those are real, all right? Spells are when you start doubting and you're cowering, you're constantly anxious, you're hyper stressed, you're overly stressed, you're worried about what everybody else is thinking, you're doubting the truth and honesty of every person because you're underneath this. We're all under spells in some regards, and so learning to re-empower yourself and to take control of your genetic destiny, your health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. And I wanted to get back real quick to meditation.
Yeah.
You know, and Christianity. I was born and raised Catholic. I've been confirmed, went through communion. My confirmation name is St. Francis. That's St. Francis of Assisi. I've got introduced to meditation about 10 years ago when I was in a crisis point. I've always been interested in people, never looking at it from the standpoint that my faith is the all-in-all thing. I wanted to know about people, and I'm like, what, you know, I have people and friends from all these different cultures and places. You know, maybe they know something about God I don't. Maybe they know something about faith that I don't. You know, what can I learn from my Asian friends and my friends from India or Sri Lanka or, you know, other places, my Native American friends and stuff. I want to know. I was curious. It wasn't like I had to impose my way. And what it has given me is a breadth and an understanding of the variety that how God shows up in people's lives. And it's also when I was in pain about 10 years ago, that's when my crisis point hit. I turned to meditation. And it was a lifesaver. And the way I see it now, and I still pray, and you know, a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to meet Pope Francis at the Vatican, and so I have this strong faith in you know, I've read the Bible, I've read the Upanishads and the Lao Tzu and the Tao Te Ching and all kinds of. What I think prayer is important. Prayer is you speaking with God, talking to God. And meditation is you listening to God. Because it's when we go silent, when we get into that quiet place, when we stop the chatter in the mind, because our mind can be unruly. And if it will lead us into doing things that are not in alignment with your spirit and your soul. And so you have to quiet the mind. If you're thinking 70,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of those are for the thoughts you thought yesterday, and let's say that 80% of that 80% is negative thoughts, you're living in the past and you're constantly in that fear-driven mode. You've got to learn to quiet that mind, because then you could start lying to yourself, and then you're initiating little acts of evil. You're initiating those things that can cause harm to other people and yourself. That's why coming back and pulling and getting clear. When you see a clear pool in a lake, it's beautiful. When it's calm, that's the same thing with a calm mind. You can see above and you can see below. It's amazing. And that's the same thing with a person. And then your channel, with your spirit to God, and however you pray, whether it's the Christian prayer, whether it's a Muslim prayer, whether it's a Jewish prayer, whether it's you praying to the great, whatever it is, it's clear, and that's why I think meditation is so beneficial, because it's your communication and you finally listening to what God has to tell you.
I want to thank you for saying that, because it's interesting, going back to my own history, is there's a thought, I think, by a lot of people, I think specifically Christians, it may be outside of that as well, but what I know is, right, the Christian community, but is that with meditation, with yoga, they say during it, clear your mind, empty your mind, and be free from all of this stuff. And what I've heard on multiple occasions is that when you clear your mind, it leaves a space for evil. And for one, meditation is all through the Bible. But for two, if you're a believer, and again, I'm going to Christianity, you can take this for, wherever you are, right? You just don't go, okay, well, here's your place for evil. Okay.
Yeah, here it is. I'm just harboring it.
I have no control over any of this.
Well, then think about all the Christian monks and nuns and people who live in quiet solitude.
Yeah.
They are constantly living in meditation. That's counterintuitive.
It is.
Saying,
it makes no sense.
It makes no sense there. Yeah. It's actually quiet and silence. After all the storms in life, whenever you had a storm, it was in that quietude, and that's where God was revealed to people.
Yeah.
In silence.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're doing. Yoga, I've been practicing yoga for 19 years. I was a weightlifter, football guy. That's what I did. And I had to find something different, and I just tried. And it has been, my gosh, the benefits of it have so incredible on so many different levels. And it's deepened my faith. It's deepened my spirituality. It hasn't taken away from it. Right. And it has actually pointed out to me in this clearing up of myself where I had been acting out of lies, where my capacity for evil was, where I had hurt and harmed people. Now I couldn't lie to myself anymore. So that's the benefit of being able to be open to something like this, and you're happier.
Yeah.
My gosh, you're just happier and more at peace.
So meditation literally changes your biochemistry. We live in the sympathetic, in this nervous system that's a sympathetic nervous system, this fight or flight, instead of living in the parasympathetic where it's what's called rest and digest. So it's calm, you're able to digest your food. And I wish we could get deeper into this. We're starting to run out of time. But this meditation will take you from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic. So it allows your body to calm. It allows the blood to go from the extremities to the core and allows you to be calm. And I also want to add to it, during my own meditations, when you are emptying or you're focusing just on your breath or the one thing, maybe you have the one thing that you want to focus on. This is what I need to get done, and I'm going to focus on when it's done because this is what I want to happen, right? This is part of creating your future. But the things that come to you when you are quiet and you're still and you don't have the noise of all of the other stuff, I've had, I book ideas and things like that, and the titles have come to me, and then other ideas have come to me, and all of these things, you're like, holy smokes, I was just laying here. And, to me, it's like you said, it's then I'm listening for God to tell me what's my next step? What am I supposed to do? And I think that, because I've never heard anybody say it that way until you said it, and it's beautiful. And again, I think it's kind of transformational in a sense, because we don't really think of meditation as when God's speaking to us, and that's what it is. But I love that. I love that. So thank you.
No, you're welcome. Well, meditation and these things have been so beneficial. It has brought a sense of greater awareness. I'm much happier as a person before. I look at myself before you doing it and the way I am today, and how it's benefited me on so many different levels. And I just, even if it's just one thing and you focus, I could choose peace instead of this. And you just focus on that idea and that thought. Early in the morning, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. Try it out for 90 days and see what happens. Yeah. Just try it out. Close your eyes and just focus on that one thought, especially during a time like this. Yeah. And see how much it improves your life. Yeah.
One last thing, and then I'm going to let you finish up by saying all of where to find you and all of that stuff. What I have also found for me for meditation, I'm not as great at doing it in the morning and the evening, but when the sun's out and it's warm, I love to lay in the sun, and I can sit and meditate for sometimes much longer than I think. It's like 30 minutes or
Yeah.
you know, sometimes it's less, but when I have that warmth, it is heavenly to me, and I can make everything go away and totally focus, and it's amazing. So find your place that you love, that you're comfortable, that you want to be still in.
Yes.
And it really is very helpful. Okay.
Agreed.
So finish
Absolutely.
up.
I agree. No, and you know it is. It's about you. It's not about what works for me or what works for you.
Yeah.
It works about what's right for you. And anyway, I can be reached. I work with people all the time with trauma and stress and helping them to reconnect to the deeper essence in themselves. I can be found at charliepacello.com. It's www.charlie, P as in Peter, ACELLO.com. Also, you can email me at charlespacello@gmail.com. That's all one word, charlespacello@gmail.com. And you know, if you like the work, it's deep work.
Obviously,
Sliding scale
fun
for
and
anything.
phenomenal stuff. I
It's
love
phenomenal.
It.
It's deep. It's rich. You'll get to know you. You come back to knowing you, and that's one of the ancient Greek dictum was to know thyself, and that's if you know yourself, then you know the entire universe, and that's what we are about, is to help you get back to you.
Amazing. Thank you, Charlie.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, super fun.
Nikki,
Let's
thank
do
you.
it again next week.
Okay.
Okay, so Nikki Burnett, Taste Life Nutrition. You can find me at tastelifenutrition.com, on the website, Facebook, Instagram, all of the places. Reach out. If you have questions, please let us know. Either one of us. You can find either one of us. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, KUHS Denver. The streaming live in 2 weeks. All right. Thanks, guys.